April 19th, 1775. In the early morning mist of Massachusetts, a quiet countryside unknowingly prepares to witness the birth of America's first war. But hidden beneath the peaceful hills and fields, a revolution stirred, quiet now but ready to echo across history. In hidden barns and candlelit rooms, men gathered in secrecy. Plans were drawn, muskets readied. But the question remained, who would strike first? Every whispered plan was a gamble. Every drawn musket, a promise that liberty would be claimed, no matter the price. Under the veil of night, British troops moved toward Concord. Their goal, seize weapons and crush rebellion. But the countryside was watching. In their silence, the British marched toward a future they could not control. A future written by unseen hands. Paul Revere rode not alone, but as one of many messengers. Yet his name survived. Why? And what was truly said that night? History remembers a single rider, but the truth galloped on many horses, carried by hundreds who risked everything in the dark. Before the sun rose, farmers and blacksmiths stood in silence. Facing the most powerful army on earth, they prepared to make a stand. Steel nerves clashed with fear. No orders were certain, no outcomes guaranteed. Only the will to stand mattered that morning. No one knows who fired the first shot, but once the smoke cleared, the world had changed. Blood had been spilled. The revolution had begun. That single shot tore a hole in time, a doorway to a world forever changed, with no way to turn back. British forces, unprepared for guerrilla tactics, faced relentless attacks during their retreat. The road to Boston became a trail of blood and shock. Battle Road became a gauntlet of desperation and defiance, a bitter taste of a rebellion the Empire could not digest. This wasn't a battlefield far away. It was fought through towns, homes, and farms. Families trembled behind walls as history marched through their doorsteps. The revolution would not respect walls or innocence. It would find every doorstep, every hearth, every heart it could stir. Beneath the smoke and gunpowder, another war had begun. One of secrets, sabotage, and shadowy alliances that would shape the course of the revolution. Espionage, hidden hands, and unseen battles. These would decide fates as surely as musket and cannon ever would. They expected peasants with pitchforks. What they met were patriots with purpose. The Empire underestimated them and paid dearly for its mistake. The myth of British invincibility crumbled, not with great armies, but with farmers and shopkeepers daring to believe they could win. At the North Bridge, colonists stood firm for the first time, ordered to fire if necessary. It marked a turning point. No longer defense, but open defiance. No king's decree could erase what happened here. Freedom would no longer ask permission. It would demand its rightful place. Confusion spread among British ranks. Communication faltered, and decisions grew desperate. The road back to Boston became a perilous journey through unseen threats. Marching backward, burdened with doubt and fear, the Empire's finest began to understand the price of ruling unwilling hearts. The revolution was not fueled by armies alone, but by ordinary people answering an extraordinary call. Unity turned scattered defiance into a growing force. Each step, each musket raised, each stand taken was a seed planted for a future still too dangerous to imagine. As dusk fell, the echoes of conflict faded into the trees. The day was done, but the dream of freedom had only just begun. Though the guns grew silent, the spirit stirred noiselessly among the trees, waiting, growing stronger with every passing moment. Word traveled fast. From tavern to town square, the news of Lexington and Concord sparked fires of resistance that no army could easily extinguish. From Boston's crowded streets to lonely fields beyond. Across Boston Harbor, silent warships waited, a city on the edge of rebellion. In Boston, British forces braced for the inevitable. War was no longer a rumor, it loomed over every street and harbor. Across the colonies, bells rang and fear spread with every word. From villages to cities, whispers turned to roars. The people understood. This was no protest, it was a call to arms. Beneath floorboards and hearths, America's future was hidden in powder and steel. It was a war fought in whispers, in hidden barns, and in secret, long before muskets roared at Lexington. Children learned from their fathers, not just to survive, but to shape the world they would inherit. In prayers, in preparation, in the silent moments before history's roar, America was already being born. Tattered cloth stitched with hope now fluttered over fields destined for legend. From scattered rebels to united patriots, a new identity was born, an America willing to fight for its destiny, no matter the cost. Within Boston's walls, British leaders pondered hard truths. Control was slipping faster than orders could be shouted across oceans. Doubt spread quietly among redcoat officers. Rumors of rising militias and vanishing supply lines haunted every whispered conversation. Far from the cities, hidden workshops pulsed with quiet energy, forging the supplies that rebellion would soon require. By nightfall, secret caravans snaked through forests and fields, moving precious supplies across a land on the brink of war. Even when unseen, the approaching storm could be felt in every drumbeat and every tremor in the restless ground. The call to arms turned farmers into fighters, craftsmen into commanders, and common men into architects of revolution. Across the colonies, town halls blazed with fiery debates, hope, fear, and anger boiling over into passionate action. Messages of defiance raced across colonies, carried by brave riders determined to unite a scattered people into one cause. In dark rooms and quiet alleys, secret groups laid plans that would ripple across continents and centuries. From a single colony, a spark had been struck. Across oceans and kingdoms, the world would soon feel its fire. As news of the first battle spread, Boston prepared to endure what many feared would become a siege of unimaginable cost. Farmers became builders, shopkeepers became guards, and the city braced itself for storms that diplomacy could no longer delay. Across the fields beyond Boston, the militias grew in strength. Men who had tasted battle now prepared for what was next. United by purpose but divided by experience, the militia faced a future that demanded both courage and unshakable vision. Out of scattered battles and whispered plans, the idea of a united army emerged. Something bold, risky, and profoundly new. Ordinary men answered an extraordinary call, offering not just their arms, but their lives for a dream larger than themselves. Across the Atlantic, kings and ministers weighed their response. Rebellion had ignited, but they still believed it could be crushed. But the spirit awakened in the colonies was no mere ember. It was a fire that even empires would fail to smother. From the bloodied greens of Lexington to distant farms and cities, the seeds of a new nation had already taken root. What began as whispers of freedom would soon roar into a revolution. The American story was only just beginning. You've been watching Lost Pages, where hidden history comes alive. If you believe forgotten stories deserve the light, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the journey.